WBW Studios for the 2022 season finale episode of Wiffle Ball Weekly. I'm here obviously in the studio with my partner in crime and Mr. Triple Crown, Bryson McGee, the commissioner of North Carolina Wiffle Ball. And Bryson, it's hard to believe we're already here. What do you think?
It's crazy to think that we're already at the end of 2022. It just seems like yesterday we were talking about everything for the 2022 season and just putting everything together. So it's crazy to think that we're already here, but it's been a blast, and I can't wait to get into the review for everybody.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It was a good year. We're thankful for you guys following along and looking forward to seeing what 2023 has in store. Obviously, we're going to recap a couple of things. None the less of which is the 2022 World Series, which you were a part of. And before we get into that, Bryson, kind of give me some of your takeaways from this year. Being that you were on the cusp of a title. Before we get into all that,
it was a lot of, like I said, it was a lot of fun. It was, like I said in the World Series preview, it's just been a battle all year, and it was in the World Series as well. So just to be in the World Series and to be that close to the world or to the championship, and it only come down to the last out, only one run. It was a blast.
Sure. Well, speaking of that, we're going to get into it. The 2022 World Series, obviously, the Eastern Express did beat your Carolina Crush 3-2. Obviously, we applaud you guys because you guys came down from being down 2-0. But on the flip side of that, y'all outscored them 32-19 in the World Series. As a matter of fact, the Crush were the only team in the NC Wiffle Ball postseason of 2022 to have a positive run differential, yet they were not the champions. So, Bryson, kind of give me some of your takeaways, knowing the success that you guys had on offense in the World Series and knowing, just you come up a little bit short.
It definitely had a lot to do with pitching this year in the World Series for sure. Last year we weren't able to have a World Series, so we wasn't sure, or we don't know how that would have turned out. But this year it was a pitching duel all the way down to the wire. Jackson Carroll came in the last part of the second half or in the postseason and just was lights out on the mound, something we wasn't really looking for. So seeing that he came back out and pitched as well as he did, I knew I had to step up my game on the mound, and so did James. And so knowing that we outscored them kind of hurts just a little bit, but then again, like I said, we battled, we gave it 150%, and we played it every play, and we never gave up, that's for sure.
That's the main thing. You never gave up, and you could have gave up very easily when you were down 2-0. And when you came out of game 2 and you had just lost, you were like, man, we're a game away from this season being over. Did anything change with you and James, like mentally or physically? Did anything kind of change? Or you said, man, if we just got to buckle down because we can't let this slip away this easily.
Going into games 1 and 2, honestly, like I said before in the preview, we wasn't sure what to look for if Jackson got on the mound, and in games 1 and 2, he was just lights out. And so after games 1 and 2, yes, we were definitely frustrated, and we kind of sat down and we talked about some things, and we watched a bunch of film, and we got out on the field and practiced for 2 days straight, just trying to fix mistakes and learn from mistakes and all that good stuff. And it paid out in games 3 and 4. We were able to bring it back, and there were battles, but we were able to bring it back to game 5.
And you outscored the Crush, 23 to 1, I believe it was, or 23 to 4. I'm sorry, in games 3 and 4. So, kind of knowing that, it's amazing to see that even though you guys didn't win the championship, it definitely benefited you tremendously in terms of getting ready for that, and getting ready for a potential comeback, which ultimately you took it down, like you said, to the wire. You had base runners on. We'll see the last at bat right here. James had the ball had a little different spin on it. We talked about it earlier tonight before we came on stage. We could have talked about it and said, oh my goodness, what would have happened if the ball would have went towards left field? What would have happened if Jackson Carroll would have bobbled it out of play? What would have happened if all these things could have happened? All these possible what if scenarios. But at the end of the day, we're going to talk about your Carolina Crush now. We're going to look at you guys. Second straight national league pennant, a 19-6 record, the best record in the league. Started out 15-0, and kind of just coming off of that, kind of give me some of your takeaways from the year.
Just me and James, right off the first series, we knew that we clicked really well. It's something we wasn't sure about leading up to the season, but we learned early on that we were going to click really well, and we were going to be a force to be reckoned with. So just coming off of that, and knowing that me and James are going to be together for 2 more years, It's a lot of fun knowing that what we can do and what we can improve on to even do better. So knowing all that, and we had a great season. I've had a lot of fun this year, and I'm excited for the years to come. Like I told James, after we've talked about it a couple times after the World Series. And honestly, I mean, I was upset. Don't get me wrong that we lost, but I wasn't mad. It wasn't like a mad upset. It was just like an upset that it was all over, because we had a lot of fun, and it was a lot of fun being able to bring it back from down 2 and to tie it up and go into the 5th game and only lose by 1 run right down to the wire. So
yeah, and I can definitely see where that would have stung, not only because it was cold, but because of the fact that, I mean, a 6-month season is no slouch.
No.
In fact, you were, just a couple of games away from a title. Definitely wanted to hurt on. But hey, listen, a great year. Congratulations on a great 2022.
Thank you.
Real quick, guys, we're going to get Brian McGee up here for a quick interview about the 2022 Eastern Express. All right, well, Brian, welcome back to WBW. I haven't had you on here in quite some time. I haven't had you on here since the 2022 kickoff, which was in Atlanta. So welcome back. And first of all, congratulations on the World Series championship. So before we get into talking about, being your first title and that kind of thing, now that you've had some time to reflect on what was 2022, what are some of your takeaways and what did it mean to you to come home with that title?
First of all, it was a great season, and we had a lot of ups and downs. And I'll be honest with you, at the beginning of the season, if you just said we'd have been in the World Series, I really wouldn't have. I'd have said, I don't know.
After opening day, what are you talking about opening day when y'all were swept by the crush?
Yeah, we were crushed.
Absolutely.
I mean, we were crushed by the crush. It kind of made you wonder if we were really going to be a contender. And then Jackson came along and he improved. We were doing really well, and then he had an injury. And after the injury, I really didn't know if he was going to be able to come back, and if he did come back, how it was going to affect his play and all that. And to be honest with you, he wasn't 100% during the both division game. And then, especially in the World Series, he wasn't 100%. But for some reason, when we put him on the mound, that was the difference. I guess where Bryson and James had seen me in years past, and then this year they had seen me enough, and they time it, and they just really hit the ball.
Sure.
I really am looking forward to the 2023 season, because I think with Jackson having some time off to rehabilitate and get his wrist right, I'm really anxious to see how next year will go.
Yeah, absolutely.
But to not take away, I don't want to take away anything from any team we played this year. I really think this year our league was pretty competitive all the way around.
Absolutely.
There was, of course, the Crush now. they're the Crush, and they had an exceptional year again. 19-6 record. And a lot of games they lost. It wasn't by just a run or two.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really proud of how you and Ethan did to come from what y'all did in 2021 to this year. I mean, it's amazing. Y'all really did well.
That's
and then and with Brett coming into the league and Taylor, I really think this coming year they're going to be a force to reckon with. And I really think the league this coming year is even going to be is more competitive, and that's what I want. I don't want to. I mean, sure, you're going to have dominant teams, but all in all, I'm proud of our team. I'm proud of how we come and we conquered the ups and downs, and just really looking forward to the 2023 season.
It'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it as well, especially with the expansion and the division. It's not a new division alignment, but with a new team in each division. So we'll talk a little bit about, it's your second straight American League pennant. You were just a couple of games shy of a World Series title in 2021 with Derek Ferguson on your team.
Right.
Your first World Series title this year, finished with a 14-12 record. I got to ask, because we didn't ask this in post game of the World Series, and I just have to know, But when you intentionally walked Bryson in Game 5, and you knew that James had gone deep in Game 4,
right?
And when it was like James had several big moments, nonetheless, which was that one, which was the game winner, the walk off against the Bulldogs earlier in the season to end the regular season, and so that kind of thing. So knowing the potential for James to end the game, kind of take me through your mind as you were like, man, we're going to walk Bryson and potentially put the winning run, or we're going to put the winning run on base. I mean, that's a big move.
Right. And I'll be honest with you, when James got on and Bryson came up, I was in my mind, I was thinking we need to do an intentional walk here. And I know some people's like, oh, that's dirty ball. That's not, but it's strategic. And I know my son. And Bryson, he's a teammate. He plays on the crush, this, that, and other. But in all, he's my son, and I know my son. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I know it's dirty, and I know he's not going to like it. But I pulled called timeout. I told you we needed timeout.
Sure.
And pulled Jackson over to the side, and I said, look, we got a 1-on-1 here. Either it's going to work, or it's not going to work. And I said, we can do this, and we come out right, or we can do this and it's going to burn us. But when you look at it, when it come down to it, and take nothing away from James. James is a great ball player. James is a great hitter. But at the end of the day, when you look back at games 3 and 4, Bryson was hot. Mm-hmm. And Bryson was launching balls, and he was ripping the ball.
Sure.
And so I looked at Jackson and I said, hey, what do you want to do? And he said, let's try it. And you've seen what happened. Everybody's watched the video, I hope, and they've seen the results. And it's one of those things where you're either going to win or you're going to lose. And it's like I told Jackson, I said, hey, it's a World Series. Either they're going to score a run tight and we're going to go to extras, or we're going to throw it out of play and they're going to score a run and win the World Series. I said, I think it's better if we just slide Bryson out of the equation and let James put all the weight on James, really.
Yeah.
And I think what happened, it put a little bit more pressure on James, and it was a really good hit. Really good hit. It's just like I told Bryson, and we've talked about it even after the fact, and he's like, man, that was just luck. And I said, sometimes you got to be lucky. It's better to be lucky than good.
That's a true statement. I say it all the time.
It was a rocket hit, and it's just the way it bounced up off of Jackson, and it went right toward first base. And
we got to talk. We've talked a little bit about Jackson, but we have to talk about that a little bit more, and we'll talk about it in a few moments when we get into talking about the Rookie of the Year conversation and what ended up happening with that, with Brett winning and everything. But when you look at Jackson's performance, I got to looking at this one Game 5 release just a few weeks ago. Jackson Carroll was 4-0 in every game. Every game he had a decision in the postseason.
Right.
He got a win. He was 4-0. Right. Even if he didn't get a decision, that was it. But when he got a decision, it was a win. And he had, I think he had a sub-5 ERA on the postseason. Maybe 6 at the most. I mean, when you look at the overall body of work from this season, that's really impressive, especially for a guy who, number one, was a rookie, but number two, only played 12 games in the regular season. How important do you think Jackson's pitching, and we'll talk a little bit more about this in 2023 and moving forward, but looking back on the World Series and your postseason run, just to finish this segment up, what do you think his pitching carried for you in this postseason, and what do you think it can mean to you next year?
Sure. In the postseason, even in the game before we went to the World Series, when we played you and Ethan, I believe there was a game or two there that I was pitching, and you and Ethan y'all timed it right. You knew where to hit it, and y'all were making good hits. And so I just, I said, you know what, let's give it a shot. Go ahead and pitch. And he was kind of shocked, that I was like, I'm turning it over to him. But as soon as he started, man, I don't know. It was just, it's some way he releases the ball, and it's got that spin in it. And it's like all of a sudden he just started shutting people down, and I'm like, hey, this might be the thing to do here. And so it's kind of crazy. We got to the World Series, and the first 2 games he didn't want to pitch. And he told me, he said, nah. He said, you pitch. So the first 2 games, I don't know what it was. I couldn't miss. And it's just when you get in a rhythm, and it's just balls are breaking where they're supposed to, and they're and they're not hitting it. And I really wish, it's like I told Jackson, I even said in the videos before games 3 and 4 that I wish if we could have just went straight into Game 3 and not took that break,
Sure.
what would the outcome been? But all in all, it was a great postseason, and Jackson. This is what I look at: if Jackson performed the way he did in postseason at maybe 80%, it's only makes you wonder what he can do in 2023 at 100%.
Absolutely.
And I'll be honest with you. Of course, I'm going to give it all I got this year, but to put him in, and he's I think he's going to be a force to reckon with. Now, there's a lot of guys in this league that's going to be a force to reckon with this coming year, and I know everybody can't see it yet, but I'm telling you, the 2023 season is going to be tough.
It will be,
and I'm looking forward to it. Of course, Bryson and James coming back. I mean, they're already going to be a force to reckon with, and you and Ethan, man, I'm telling y'all, watch for Ethan, watch Ethan Cole. I'm telling you, he's going to be lights out. I'm telling you, the youngin's getting some height on him. He's getting some control about him. And I'm telling you, when he pitched against us, and nothing to take away from you, but when you put him in, it's kind of like when I put Jackson in.
There's a reason Ethan Williams. There's a reason EW5 was the American League MVP.
And so I'm telling you, man, 2023 season's going to be tough.
Absolutely.
And I'm looking forward to it. And like I said, not to take nothing away from anybody, but I'm looking forward to seeing what Jackson does and how he performs in 2023.
2023 will be big, and listen, congratulations again. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll see you next season.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, Bryson, welcome back.
Thank you.
That was a good segment. We had Brian McGee back up here from the Express, and looking forward to seeing what him and Jackson have in store for 23. So now we'll look ahead. We'll look back on the 2022 season. Talk a little bit about a couple of things, nonetheless of which is what I consider to be the game of the year.
Oh yeah.
And not just because it was a great game, not just
call of the year.
The call of the year, not just because I called it, but because it was just an epic moment. Let's take a look at that real quick here before we get into it. 2-1 pitch. He deals. Gerald high, deep, and gone. That's the ball game. James Gerald with a trifecta of homers in Game 3. Power. So Bryson, knowing the fact that you were on base at that moment, and you had just seen the express. All right, Bryson. So as we look at that, and we saw you on base at that moment, as we saw that James stepped into the box in what I consider to be the biggest moment of the regular season, truthfully, up to that point, knowing that the Bulldogs had just struck for 7 runs in the top of the 4th, take me through your mindset as you looked at James saying, man, this is our last shot. What do you think?
It was definitely tough, to say the least, knowing we had to come back down, or come from being down 7, for sure. But that just showed the grit and the crush, and they never quit in the crush. And so coming down to it was 2 outs, 2 runners on base. And as soon as James hit it, I knew as soon as he hit it, it was gone. And if in the video, you can see how excited I am for him. That was definitely the hit of his career for sure.
Absolutely. Thus far, that was the biggest hit. I mean, that 1-2 pitch was huge.
Oh yeah.
That was huge. I still, in my mind, I play it back about every day. It's like, what a shot. What a shot by James Gerald. 3-run home run. Capped off a great regular season by him.
For sure.
Again, nothing taken away from anybody else. But if there was a clutch award, I got to say James Gerald would have been at the top of the board. I got to say it. All right, Bryson. So now moving over to the next topic, which is none other than your Triple Crown Award. By the way, congratulations.
Thank you.
First ever Triple Crown Award in NCAA history. You led the league in average, home runs, and RBIs. Kind of take me through how you feel about 2022, knowing that, you had these great individual accomplishments, not to discount the crush this season, but you came just a little bit short in total.
Oh yeah. Just all in all, I had a great time this year. It was a lot of fun getting to play with James, one of my best buddies, and so I had a lot of fun out there. We had some rough patches, but we worked through them, and we battled all the way down to the wire, and I can't ask for nothing more. And I'm blessed to say I had a really good year. I've just been I was able to see the ball pretty good this year. So, I'm just really blessed. There's nothing really more to say, and I'm humbled for it.
Sure, absolutely. When you hit over 750 on the year with 37 home runs, there's no shame in that at all. What do you think you can build on going into 2023, knowing, it's hard to top the year you had this year.
Oh, yeah. Just some of the mistakes I made at the plate. There was a lot of times I got in my own head, for sure, late in the season, and going down the wire, there was just a few mistakes I made at the plate that I can work on over the off season and to do better for 2023, and then just some things as a whole, as a team, that we can build on and we can make better for years to come.
Sure, absolutely. Well, congratulations to
Thank
you
you.
again. Next, we're going to look at the 2022 Rookie of the Year race, which probably was my favorite just because of how close it really was.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Jackson Carroll from the Express, you know, he had 18 home runs, I think 66 RBIs in the first half of the year in 12 games. So, you know, and the reason I like this race so much, Bryson, is because, you know, what do you think would have happened had he played the whole year? I mean, we always play the what-if game, and let's put this into perspective. But in all reality, I mean, let's talk about it.
It's really hard to say what would have happened if Jackson was able to play the whole year. Mm-hmm. Based on how he came back in the postseason and he pitched lights out, I mean, who's to say that he wouldn't have went or got close to my home run record and got close to my the pitching and all that. So there's a lot of stuff to think about, but that's always going to be the what if part in the back of our brain because it never happened.
That's absolutely right. And listen, nothing discounting Brett Wiseman. Brett Wiseman had a great year. 463 average, 18 home runs, 72 RBIs. I mean, all of those numbers are stronger than what I had. I mean, I applaud him for that, especially as a rookie. His first year here.
Oh, yeah.
I congratulate Brett Wiseman.
Like we've said, had a few things went his way and Taylor's way, Bulldogs would have been right there in the mix with the Crush and the Express and the Sharks.
They were. I mean, when you look at their average margin of loss, I believe it was less than 5 runs. I believe it was somewhere between 3 and 4.
Their record definitely didn't show.
No, the Bulldogs had a great year. I mean, they fought with grit all year, and I got to say, watch out for the dog pound in 2023.
Oh yeah, 100%. Brett's gonna come in his sophomore year, and he's gonna build on what he did this year, and I think he'll be even better.
I agree. I think him and Taylor will be a force breaker when 3 Brett,
100%.
Taylor's been in the weight room getting stronger. He's looking great. He's taller and is getting stronger. Brett doing just the same. A lot of traveling, sleepless nights with the T-Birds right now.
Yes.
But shout out to both those guys. The Bulldogs, Dog Pound 2023. Y'all be ready.
Yes.
We're going to look at 2022 AL MVP. I'm going to let Bryson run this one just because this is my squad.
Yeah, so the AL MVP went to none other than Ethan Cole Williams from the Southeastern Sharks. His 2022 stats was he went .612 average at the plate. He had 23 home runs and 104 RBIs. He was another one of the ones that exceeded the 100 RBI mark. Mm-hmm. So Ethan just had a great year. All in all, had a few things went his way. He was definitely right there in the running for a home run title and a Triple Crown title on top of that. So, I mean, he had a phenomenal season in the field. When he pitched, he was lights out.
He's a Gold Glove winner.
Gold Glove winner. He went above and beyond this year for the Sharks, and what helped the Sharks exceed even better from 2021. Nothing taken away from you, but both of y'all had an exceptional eye at the plate. Had, I think we said, 70 some walks as a whole or something like that.
On the season, I believe we had like 82 walks.
82 walks as a whole. That's an exceptional eye at the plate. So all in all, Ethan Williams just had a phenomenal year, and that is why he is your 2022 AL MVP. And I look nothing more even better from Ethan Williams in 2022.
Yeah, and just not to talk too much on it because he was my teammate, but I mean, Ethan just had a great year. Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, so many times, I mean, I can go back to one of the games we trailed the Express like 12-6 or 11-5 or something like that, and then we worked the bases loaded a couple of times, got a couple of base hits, and then Ethan had a walk-off grand slam. We actually ended up winning that game 12-11, I believe it was, and 13-12-1. I mean, Ethan, his clutch factor and his ability to put the ball in play and get us RBIs and get us runs when we needed them.
100%.
I mean, it was second to none.
Honestly, even at the first of the year, he started off and he was getting some hits here and there, but he went through a dry slump right there at like the second and third series, and I was like, I know he's gonna snap out of it. And as soon as he snapped out of it, that's when his turning point was. And when his turning point hit, that's when he started going.
Series number 2 for us, I remember. Series number 2 against the Bulldogs, he had a rough one. Series number 1 against the Express was not bad. It was a little bit rough. The second one against the Bulldogs was kind of iffy as well. But from Series 3, midway through Series 3 on through the rest of the year, Ethan just got hot.
That was his turn.
And looking forward to seeing what Ethan brings to the Shark squad next year. I mean, I'm thankful to have him on my side. And, I mean, I'm just proud of him. He had a great year.
Me too.
I mean, just You know, he was AL Cy Young, AL MVP. He won a Gold Glove.
100%.
I mean, a lot of accolades for that for five this year. Looking forward to
100%.
that. Look forward to 2023
For sure.
for Ethan Williams. This one kind of surprised us a little bit. 2022 National League MVP. You know, kind of a surprise because given the year you had, Bryson, it was surprising to see this be the case. But nonetheless, nothing to take away from Brett or James, respectively, as members of the Bulldogs and Crush. But Taylor just had a great year. I mean, a 594 average, 27 home runs, and 86 RBIs. Again, folks, these stats are cumulative for regular season and playoffs.
Also,
Taylor
to
Furchess,
note, he would have won the home run.
100%. Taylor Furchess, when he filled in for the Express, he had probably 5 to 10 home runs in that series. He finished the regular season with 25, I believe it was, in the National League. And so had he had all those counted for him, he would have broke the record.
Oh, yeah.
But of course, like we said, sub stats do not count when he filled in for the Express. So unfortunately, he was not able to get the crown this year. But that's not to say 2023 it's anybody's game. I mean, everybody's at 0-0 now. We're starting over. Bryce, anything you want to add to your counterpart season in the National League?
I had a blast playing against Taylor this year.
Sure.
I always do. One of my best buddies. Grown up together, so just to see him have a really good year like this, I'm glad to see it for him. I look for nothing less in 2023 and years to come. It's just going to be a battle between us two down the wire, and James and Brett and all the way, and even the new teams that are coming in. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Looking forward to seeing what new guys bring to the table. But like you said, Bryce, that's a great point to kind of wrap up the show. That's a great point. You know, looking at what the past has brought us thus far and what the vets are bringing to the table. You and Taylor are, I'm sure, going to continue to bring it. Me and Ethan will bring it. Probably hit more so him than me. Brett just the same. James just the same. Your daddy Jackson. Jackson, if he can Jackson can have a rookie year, if he can have a sophomore year, half of what his rookie year was. I mean, the Express will be favorites to repeat via
100%.
Vegas. Folks, so that this has been 2022. But before we finish, we've got one last message we're going to leave with you tonight.
What's up, NCWB fans? Isaac Williams, Vice President and Captain of the Southeastern Sharks. Just want to wish you guys a huge thank you.
What's up, NCWB fans? Bryson McGee here, Captain of the Carolina Crush and Commissioner of NC Wiffle Ball here. I just want to say thank you so much.
Hey everybody, it's Ethan Williams from the Southeastern Sharks of the NCWB. I just want to thank you guys for helping us reach our milestones.
What's up, guys? It's James Gerald from your Carolina Crush. Just want to say thank you.
Hey guys, Taylor Burgess here, Captain of the Backyard Bulldogs, and I just want to send out a big thank you.
What's up, NCWB fans? Brian McGee here with the Express. Just wanted to tell you all thank you so much.
What's up, NCWB fans? Brett Wiseman here with the Backyard Bulldogs. Just want to say thank you guys so much for getting us to 100 subscribers. It's because of you that we get to do what we love. That's all we're doing. We're just doing what we love, and you guys enjoying the content. It means the world to us. So keep up the likes and the subs and the comments and everything. Keep them coming because we love what we do, and we love that you guys love what we're doing.
All right, folks, and with that, we say goodnight from the NCWB studios. As always, this has been Wiffle Ball Weekly. I'm Isaac Williams, your host. This is my co-host, Bryson McGee. We thank you guys for a great 2022 season.
We just want to thank y'all so much from the bottom of our hearts for supporting us throughout the 2022 season, and we look for nothing better into 2023. So without further ado,
this has been Wiffle Ball Weekly. We say goodnight from NCWB Studios as we turn the page into the new year.
And we will see y'all next time.